Hello ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here, and today I'm taking a look at Banished. And first thing, of course, let's not beat around the bush here. This game has been all over YouTube for quite some time now, so this isn't new. But if you're still watching this, clearly you want to know if I think whether or not is it any good. And first up, I gotta say that this game is made by one person. Clearly one person who wasn't satisfied with the way SimCity turned out and went on to make their own game, and they did an excellent job of it. Obviously, of course, I'm kidding. There's no way a game like this would have been made that quickly. This definitely had a lot of work that went into it. Now what you're looking at right here is the main menu, and behind it you can see the ground. It's got a lot of these little weird little crosses and stuff behind it. That's because this isn't actually a static main menu screen. In fact, this is actually a view from one of the villages that I created before. So, as you can tell, this is already shaping up to be, yes, it is a city building, town management simulator sort of game, and it's really addictive. First up, I'm gonna show you how exactly we get into this game, and this is how we create a new game right here, and you can auto-generate a bunch of different names, all which are a little bit strange. I haven't seen many places actually name some of these. Maybe they're European or something. Let me know whether or not it is actually. And yeah, let's just call this one Duggars. There we go. Let's call it Duggars. That's a nice name. And all of these maps are procedurally generated, so those of you familiar with games like Minecraft, you might have seen these map seed numbers and all that, and you can type in any seed and you get a sort of particular pattern of terrain and all that. That's all here, so you can click this a bunch of times and you get a different seed every time. And there are two different main sort of terrain types. You've got mountains and valleys. Valleys tend to be a little bit flatter, and mountains tend to be a little bit, well, mountainy. The difference being, of course, building area. You generally can't build on slopes for the most part, so you kind of end up playing on flat ground. Now, terrain size, of course, small, medium, and large. The small map actually is still pretty big, and I fail to see how anyone could really fill up an entire map in any space of time, actually. Large map especially is huge. Yeah. Climate as well, these affect the weather things, so for example, how harsh your winters will be, how frequent the rains are, that sort of thing, how hot the summers might be. All these kind of affect your people, and whether there are any disasters, things like disease, fire, that sort of thing. Starting conditions here, these just affect sort of what you start off with. If you start off with hard, like it says down here, you have 4 families. That's 2 parents and usually 1 child, maybe 2. So you got less people, you've got very little resources to begin with, and there are absolutely no seeds for farming, so you can't even build farms. Everything has to come off from the land until you can actually trade for these things. It's really difficult conditions. Medium seems to be what most people might jump in the game with. You start off with a moderate amount of resources and a couple of buildings, and easy, of course, gives you the best kind of start. You got loads of resources, and you even have livestock and stuff to begin with, so you've got a lot of things to begin with. So for what I'm going to do, I'm start with a small map down here, call it Duggars, and generate it for you right here. Now, I just want to reiterate the point that this game is made by one person, so be prepared to be amazed, actually. So what you're seeing down here is the easy mode, and we start off with a bunch of houses, and you can even see who lives in these houses. So here you've got a full family, father, mother, and 2 kids. And the age of the population makes a lot of difference. Of course, here you've got an 11-year-old and 12-year-old with 2 kids, so a little bit strange exactly how they come about, the ages of families, but I'm not going to judge. It's obviously based on a different time. Now, building and stuff is pretty simple for the most part, but one thing you want to do once you start playing this game is actually open up a bunch of menus. Now, this one right here, the event log, these are your resources, and one more that you'll want to have available is the jobs, because this is kind of how you do stuff. It's not really a god game. Like if I wanted to build a house, I can't just take a house and just put it down somewhere. It won't build. You actually need to have people building it, and you need to have people gathering resources. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you how exactly we do these sort of things. I want to remove resources, so we'll just clear this area over here and we can build something off to that side. Now, of course, one thing you do want to do, of course, is set up yourself to always have resources coming in. The thing that you want to know most about this game when you're playing it is that this is not a game where you can just read the needs of the people and then build accordingly. By the time people start running out of food and they start starving to death, it's really going to be way too late to do anything. So you always want to keep planning in advance and kind of seeing what possible problems you're going to have. And as the you get more resources, you build more houses, you get more mouths to feed, you get more population, essentially. All these things have to be accounted for. So it's not a game that you can expand into very quickly. This is a game that you need to take time and patience to play. And unfortunately, I'm not really that kind of a patient person, so there is this speed option, so I can actually up this to 10 times, and you can see time goes past really, really quickly, absurdly fast, and you do tend to miss a lot of stuff if you do that, so best not to always play at that speed. 2 times is alright, 5 times is a bit faster, but this is probably as fast as you really want to go. Just to, there are random events, people do get sick and die, you can keep an eye on your overall health of citizens, but again, this doesn't really tell you about the individual citizens themselves. I've had people starve to death when this was at 5. In fact, in one game I actually had a strange, I think it might have been a bug, where a lot of my citizens were randomly getting crushed by rocks. I thought that might have had something to do with the quarries, but it turns out people really far away from the docks started dying for no reason. So apparently there were rogue rocks going around crushing people. I have no idea what's going on with that. But overall, this is sort of I would say it's a very detailed game. Like, there are loads of things you can do. In fact, for the fact that we actually have livestock means I should probably build a pasture, but it's not going to let me because there is a little elevation over here. Now, I have seen some games, some screenshots from games where people have built really massive, flourishing cities, which look absolutely gorgeous. And in fact, city planning is a really big thing. You want to kind of keep an eye out on, like, pathing and everything to see which direction your people are taking. Now, when you start building buildings and things like that, you want to assign jobs and all this. You can do that at the building itself, or you can do it through here. I prefer to do it through the main menu, personally, but, that's just me. You do get specific control over what gets built, though, so if you want some things to become higher priority, you can always do that as well. It's not really a big deal. Now, you'll notice that I'm placing the buildings down, but it doesn't get built immediately, and that's because you need builders and laborers. So as we put more buildings down, more building jobs open up, and we can assign more people. It seems pretty logical, actually, and I love the strategy in this game. It's just the fact that you kind of have to constantly plan ahead, what's going to happen next season, what's going to happen next year, etc. You got to keep an eye out for those sorts of things. It's really in-depth. Now, I'm going to jump out of this game and show you another game where I have built much further into it, and just kind of show you what's going on. So you can see right here that I've got a bunch of things already set up, and but we're completely out of resources, and this is because I kind of overexpanded at the beginning. So people do die. It has happened many times already. So yeah, getting resources is an issue. There's a lot of unbuilt buildings as well. I mean, this is all part and parcel of not having the resources to build them, as well as also prioritizing building options and things like that. Now, obviously there are stuff here. I've noticed a couple of issues with how the actual resources are distributed, because some houses tend to hoard more than they should. I mean, look at this. And then some houses have none. Also, this person's named Camera for some reason. Yeah, so some houses have more and some have less. Also, our blacksmith doesn't seem to be manned. But it's fine, we don't really need it at the moment. So just generally keeping an eye on your resources, looking at what's getting low and trying to, you know, stay ahead of the game is kind of all part and parcel of playing Banished. And I suppose if you want to talk about a win state or a sort of an ending state as well, having sort of a autonomous kind of functioning city that you don't really have to intervene with so much. I think that's really the way to go, where you can sort of have sustainable growth, and I'd say that's a pretty good end state to try and reach. Ultimately, there's no real win state. You can just keep playing this game almost infinitely. I mean, look at the size of this map. This entire thing is building area. I can build anywhere on this map. It's huge. And you do tend to start in the middle of the map. So going anywhere on this map, we could actually build just about anywhere, really. And yeah. As you can see, we can build bridges and things like that, so we can access just about anywhere. You're not really kind of cut off to a particular area. If I have any criticisms, it's just that the game doesn't really have much in the way of a tutorial, so you're kind of thrown into the deep end. But hey, a couple of playthroughs, you kind of work out what it is that you need to do, and you can kind of pick it up from there. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. In fact, you're probably going to have a load of failure villages right from the beginning, but this game, I've just found that it's really a lot of fun, it's really addictive, and you can just keep playing again and again to keep trying to get that sort of perfect village going. So, the verdict, is it any good? Well, in the current state that it's in, I would have to give this a solid yes. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Definitely just making villages and just kind of growing them and all that. There's a certain satisfaction to doing that. If you're a fan of city building simulators and things like that, definitely this would be right up your alley. And this is sort of a game that you can kind of pick up and just start playing in about 5 minutes, really. Once you've gotten past how the controls sort of work, figuring out the menus and all that, which is possibly the most difficult part, I'd say you're good to go. And you can make sort of these kind of geometric shapes with your villages, with the roads and things if you want to as well. It's just I've been having a lot of fun with that. So, definitely worth checking out. This game, this is Banished, currently going for $19.99, or nearest makes no difference, $20 on Steam right now, or your current regional equivalent. It's worth checking out. As always, this has been Panzer, and I'll see you guys next time.